what if LeBron goes out there and pulls off this upset versus the Nuggets in the first round?
It means the Lakers are going to the finals. That's what it's going to mean. And when you start talking about LeBron James, like what kind of things this deep into his career can really do anything to sort of affect the way we describe him and his legacy? Because I think he is 100% firmly cemented at number 2. And I don't think there's anything he's going to do the rest of his career. He's going to catch Jordan, and there's nothing that he's going to get caught from behind. He's number 2. He's locked in. That's where he's going to be. And that's winning this series won't change that. But winning another title may get that conversation a little bit more interesting. So I think if they beat the Nuggets, what that says to me is, because the Nuggets are fully healthy, that says to me that the Lakers are on a level now that they're going to make a run through the West. Because I think the Mavericks right now are the biggest threat to the Nuggets. Well, they'd be gone. It'd be the Lakers. And the Lakers would end up going to the NBA Finals and most likely eventually playing the Boston Celtics. That's what the importance of this would mean. Having said all of that, I don't think they're beating the Denver Nuggets.
Woo. Yeah.
Allow me to say this. You listen to Mellow Yellow? You listen?
Me?
Because I want you to know this, Molly. I want you to know this, Mellow Yellow, okay? And I want you to hear this too, Eminem and Tim Legler. Brace yourself, okay? I totally agree with you. If LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers beat the reigning defending NBA champion Denver Nuggets, they could win it all. Now, I have said this on the record on countless occasions, that Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time. I don't give a damn what anybody says. He is the absolute greatest. But I have to confess, if LeBron James beats Denver and marches forward to ultimately win another chip, I don't know how strong my argument is going to be on behalf of Jordan moving forward. Because we already see what LeBron, first of all, let's understand legacy. Because, you know, people like Rich Paul and Maverick and all of them are watching, and especially with Rich Paul, you know, the water just clogs his ears. He hear what he want to hear, okay? So you got to speak loud, you got to speak demonstratively so he can really grasp what the hell you're saying. There is nothing that negatively affects the legacy of LeBron James at this point in time in his career. To be a 4-time champion, a 4-time league MVP, took 10 trips to the NBA Finals, to be in his 21st season at age 39, looking better than 95% of the league, if not more. The man is phenomenal, without question, okay? Nothing negatively affects his legacy. But the reason why this question is apropos is because there are certain things that could positively affect his legacy. And this is it. This is it right here. You go out there and you beat the Denver Nuggets and you march forward, because if you beat Denver, who can't you beat? Who can't you beat? If you beat Denver, that means you can beat Dallas, you can beat the Clippers, you can beat anybody that's standing in your path.
Stephen A.
Okay? And hell, you could beat Boston. If you beat the Denver Nuggets, there is no reason to believe that the Lakers can't win it all.
Okay.
And if they do that.
Let me ask you this.
Wow.
Stephen A., I like this. I get what you're saying. If they go out and beat the Nuggets, they can win it all. If LeBron pulls that off, 39 years of age, the GOAT conversation, you'd even take a second look at it with how highly you revere Michael Jordan. But with that being said, back to reality. Like, what percentage are you putting on the Lakers actually beating the Nuggets?
Molly, I'd give the Lakers about a 25 to 30% chance.
Okay.
Understand, from a roster perspective, there's no excuse why the Lakers can't compete with the Denver Nuggets. You should be able to compete with them. Anthony Davis is no slouch. Anthony Davis played 76 games this year. Anthony Davis played all world. Anthony Davis could give Jokic 35 to 40. He did it in game 1 last year. He could do it. I'm not ruling it out.
So, Stephen A., I'm gonna jump in, right? Like, first of all, great point by both of you in terms of what this then would cause us to do and review in the GOAT conversation. But if this were to happen, let's just go with the hypotheticals. The toll and the physicality of this series and the level of exertion, I know you get a couple days of rest, you get ready for the next series, But I'm really wondering about the sustainability at this point in his career for not just a LeBron James, but they're going to be beat up if they manage to pull that off by the Denver Nuggets. And so while you would look and say, okay, now they may be one of the best teams remaining, I just wonder about the potential toll that would have been taken as you're trying to matriculate through the rest of the postseason.
I think that's a very fair point. It's a fair point. But what that would do to the collective psyche of the group and the adrenaline that they would then get having survived that. Because, look, that would probably be you win a game 7 on the road or something. That's what it's going to take. The collective sigh of relief you would breathe knowing, okay, now we go forward, we get Minnesota or Phoenix. That's who we get next. And then eventually either the Mavericks or the Clippers. I just think that adrenaline would get them through it because they would know they dispatched of the big dog. Now they look at the rest of the league and think we can go ahead and we can get this done.
That's exactly where I was going to go, Tim Legler. See, Eminem, I don't understand sometimes how you ask these questions. Like, you know, when you on First Take, don't get me wrong, you're spry, you ready to roll. Eminem is Eminem. There's only one. There's only one. I get all of that.
You're so
but let me tell you something. But let me tell you something right now. It's nothing compared. I mean, the flavor that you bring when you showing up to those Knicks games, pre-game, post-games. I mean, did you see the advertising legs? You see the advertising all over MSG? You see? I mean, Monica McNutt is everywhere. Monica McNutt is everywhere. She's a star, right? So there's a level. There's a level of fervor and adrenaline that comes with it. When you walk into the arena, you slapping high five with the fans. You a woman of the people. You a woman of the people. Somebody would think you running for office if they didn't know any damn better.
The Sixers won less than 40% of their games without Embiid and averaged 11.6 fewer points per game. The Knicks went 1-4 without Brunson, averaging almost 14 fewer points per game. All right, Monica's back. Tim Legler. Monica. You pay very close attention to these squads.
I do.
As Stephen A. highlighted earlier with your many jobs. Who's more important, do you think, in this series? Would you go Embiid or Brunson?
This is a tough question, but I think it's going to be Jalen Brunson. He literally is the creator, both for himself and for his teammates, for the New York Knicks. The numbers when he's off the floor in terms of the net rating tumble. So I think it's going to be Jalen Brunson, and his teammates are going to have to be locked in to be able to help him. But in terms of his value and the way this team looks with and without him on the floor, I think it's Jalen Brunson. And this is not an easy question. I understand the argument for Embiid, but I just keep going back to him being the single best shot creator, both for himself and others, and it's by a wide margin.
I think for me, it's Joel Embiid. And in saying that, I'm complimenting Jalen Brunson for this standpoint. I have absolutely no doubt what I'm about to see out of Jalen Brunson in this series. That's how sure I am of what he has become, the way he delivers every night. There doesn't seem to be anything you can come up with to really limit him or keep him from getting to his spots. He just does it time and time again. The difference is with Embiid, you're talking about him at his peak and the way he looks now. You're talking about the most dominant player in the Eastern Conference versus a guy that now you have a chance against. That's what we're looking at in Joel Embiid. So when I say he's the most important player, what I'm saying is if he can't be significantly closer to what he is at his best, or even what he was a few weeks ago when he first came back from the injury, than he was last night, they can't win the series. So I don't know what I'm about to see out of Joel Embiid. Game 1, how does he look moving forward in this series? Does it get worse game by game? And if that's the case, you completely swing the pendulum in the direction of the New York Knicks. I'm saying Brunson, that's a given. I know what that's going to look like. He's healthy. I know what that's going to look like. I have absolutely no idea what I'm about to see out of Joel Embiid, and the fact that he's the most dominant player in the East and one of the top 2 probably in the entire NBA, and we don't know that. That's why, to me, Stephen A., I'm saying he is the more important factor here that we need to be talking about.
He's the more important factor without question. Here's the reason why. Because the Philadelphia 76ers don't have a snowball's chance in hell without him. It's just that simple. It's that simple. Now, I know you could say the same about Jalen Brunson, and we get that. The difference is that Jalen Brunson, you haven't had to consider much about life without him because he's been reliable, he's been durable, he hasn't been hurt. He doesn't have a history of a plethora of injuries that has derailed not just him, but the franchise's championship aspirations. And which is why it's such a damn shame that his teammate was Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, because Joel Embiid was healthy enough to help propel you to a championship if Ben Simmons had done his job. I'm talking about the series against Atlanta, Tim Legler. That's his last series in a Philadelphia 76ers uniform. I'm talking about that. And so when you look at it from that standpoint and you consider the game that Joel Embiid brings to the table, how dominant he can be, how much he can derail and throw off anything that you throw in his direction, it is problematic for anybody going up against the Philadelphia 76ers when he is healthy enough to perform. He's not. And because he's not, that's a big reason why my confidence is where it is for the New York Knickerbockers, because I love me some Jalen Brunson. I'm proud to have him. I think he's arguably the biggest free agent pickup from a franchise, at this side of Kevin Durant, for crying out loud, okay? I get all of that. But in the end, he ain't Joel Embiid. We all know this. Joel Embiid is something special to behold, but he ain't healthy. And if he can't give you what he's capable of giving you or something close to it, the Philadelphia 76ers don't stand much of a chance in this series.
Both, we all agree, are pivotal pieces for their particular teams. And I truly do understand you guys' argument, and it's not a hill that I'm willing to die on in this particular argument. I just don't buy that you're going to get the healthier version. And so for me, the conversation just swings the other way.
Stephen A., how much does Tyrese Maxey impact this series?
Well, he can, because he's an explosive player. He's young, he's energetic, he's spry, he's electric in a lot of different ways. He is something special to behold as well. I'm really proud of him. I think that he's going to deserve and warrant, and he will ultimately receive a max contract. He's definitely the future of the franchise in terms of, one could argue he's the future because he's more reliable from a durability standpoint than Joel Embiid has been. And so I look at it from that perspective, and I say to myself, Tyrese Maxey, he can shoot, he can get to the hole, he can pass, he's quick of foot, he's young, and all of those things work in his favor. He's definitely that elite supplementary part that you would look for when you think about being a championship team. He's got the goods. Make no mistake about it. But again, without Joel Embiid, it's just hard to imagine what they're going to be able to do against the onslaught of a New York Knicks team who, quite frankly, is just an elite defensive team. When an OG Anunoby, Hartenstein, and even a Mitchell Robinson coming off the bench is in the lineup for you, not to mention Josh Hart. They are an elite defensive team, and that cannot be escaped.
Listen, I'm glad we brought up Tyrese Maxey. Here's why. I'm out on a limb with Tyrese Maxey. I've already said it. This is the most reliable playoff co-star Joel Embiid has had, period, in Philadelphia. I'm going back to Ben Simmons, obviously James Harden. Tyrese Maxey, to me, is a guy that comes off as having this elite-level confidence. And he's got the quickness that he's going to get to spots on the floor. He's had 3 50-point games this season, for goodness sakes, okay? This is a guy that is super combustible. He can go off. I think we're going to know a lot more about how we view Tyrese Maxey at the end of this series.
NBA,